Yo, it's Coach Ed. Got the insights, no boats. From the rookies in the youth leagues to the seasoned pros, ladies ballin', fellas fighting all around the globe. Breaking it down dynamic, tune in, listen up. Don't wanna miss the flow. It's Coach Ed Reed and Attack the Sports Show. From the courts to the field, he's got the stats. Dropping knowledge is where the real fans at. So stand up, get ready for the party. Wave your arms in the air, let's hear you say. Coach Ed, our mentor on the mic. Breaking down the game, every highlight. Analyzing plays, court the turf the like. Youth leagues, college dreams, pro spotlight. Tackling the flats, defense or attack. He's got the vision, shows you where it's at. We grab the scoop, no stone left unturned. In Coach Ed's realm, the knowledge earned.
Peace and blessings, everyone. It's me, Coach Ed, and I'm here today with episode 9 of Coach Ed's Read and Attack Live. Really excited for today's show. I'm coming to bring you guys my perspective on a couple of different subjects. Today, going to talk a little bit Rutgers athletics, touch a little bit on the NFL and some WNBA, and maybe get into just real quickly the Olympics, since we're now in that time, we're in that era. It's now the 2024 Olympics. Just had the opening ceremony. So really stoked to be here to talk to you guys about it. So I really appreciate everyone for being here. If you're new to this episode, make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button on Coach Ed Gladney's Amazing World of Sports. Also on the Hardcore Sports Network, because it'll be broadcast also on the Hardcore Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification on both, so this way you know when great content is being posted. And everyone, always share on all your social media platforms. So I appreciate everyone who's there. Daniel Berry, happy Friday to you. And everyone, as always, man, thank you for always being here. So everyone, also, there's a chat there, so just tap in. Let me know what you're thinking about whatever we're talking about. Put your comments in there. Always after the show, if you want to always leave a comment, I'll always come back and I'll, respond to your comments there. So, but again, I really appreciate it. Now, today's episode is sponsored by the New Jersey Silverbacks minor league semi-pro football team. This is their inaugural season, so I really appreciate their support, and I'll be playing their commercial a little bit later. So, but right now, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the talk. And one of the things I want to talk about is Rutgers athletics. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm big on Rutgers athletics, and there's a lot going on in the world of Rutgers athletics. In terms of the Big Ten just had their media day this week for football, and Rutgers had their presentation on Tuesday. So there's a lot to talk about there in terms of what's going on in the world of Rutgers athletics. So I'm going to dive into that. But before I even get into that, right before I came on, just received some surprising news. Wasn't expecting it. Was on Twitter or X, however you want to categorize it. And I pulled up that Rutgers actually flipped a player, tight end, 2025 tight end Ben Rothar. He flipped from Kent State over to Rutgers. So they're adding a tight end to the fold, which is good for tight end for Rutgers. They've been needing the tight end. So he's a native of Norwalk, Ohio, but he committed to Rutgers. Now that puts their class with 30 recruits. Many of those, they have been coming from the last couple of months, June and July. So Coach Shiano and the staff has done a phenomenal job of securing kids, getting kids to come in, seeing what the future is, the family atmosphere. The Rutgers does have a mantra, FTC, which is Family Trust Chop. So, and the kids buy into that. So it's a good thing. Now, Rother, he's 6'5", 210 pounds, from Norwalk, Ohio. So Rivals has him at a rating of a 5.3. So it's going to be interesting seeing this young man come in and develop. In his junior season, he caught 32 passes for 451 yards with 3 touchdowns. He even returned 5 kickoffs for 132 yards and a touchdown. So he's a versatile athlete, plays on both sides of the ball. He's also racked up 74 tackles, intercepting a pass while playing safety. He's also a four-sport star, competing in football, basketball, baseball, and track. So it's a very good pickup for Rutgers in that regard, because when a kid plays multiple sports, there's a level of versatility that they bring to the table, and it's definitely going to be a good thing for Rutgers to bringing this young man to the fold, especially with all the other players there. 30 kids, it's big, and there's a lot going on now because in the new FBS realm, schools have they're finishing up the final touches, but anywhere from 105 to 110 scholarships. There's no more walk-ons. It's all going to be scholarships, up from 85. So, which is why you're seeing schools now bringing in more kids. What's up, Greg, man? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here, man. But again, in terms of Rothar, definitely a good pickup. Like I said, versatile athlete playing multiple sports. He's coming in as a tight end. Now he is going to have to bulk up 210 pounds. You're definitely not going to compete, playing tight end at that level at 210 pounds. But once he gets into the strength and conditioning program with Coach Butler, he definitely will bulk up and put on some good size to add to his frame, because at 6'5", he has the height and the frame to add on the weight, but also play tight end at the FBS level. So again, good pickup for recruiting pickup for Rutgers. Definitely going to pull up some film a little bit later and really dive into what he has to offer in terms of overall talent. But it sounds like it's a very good pickup. So congratulations to Rutgers, Coach Schiano. And we'll see with the class where it ends up in terms of the ultimate final rankings after the signing day later on the end of this year, and the official final one going into next year. Also, all you football fans, I highly recommend you reach out and get a copy of the Field Still college football for 2024. It's a great read, especially if you love college football. It will give you a good, deep, detailed perspective on all the schools at the FBS level. It doesn't matter, whether you're a Power 5 or not. If you're in the SEC or Conference USA, whatever school you're rooting for, they'll have the information in there, and you'll be able to really get a feel for your school as well as other schools across college football. So I have my copy. That's kind of like my Bible, part of one of my Bibles, if you want to say that I dive into and, get everything, stats, give you a breakdown of players, what they did last year, transfers, the whole kit and caboodle. So definitely take a look at that there. So, but getting back into Rutgers athletics, in terms of the media day, it was a lot of exciting energy, when it came towards Rutgers. Now, look, I've gone through and I've seen many different breakdowns and projections in terms of the final record for Rutgers. It's gone from anywhere from 5 wins up to 10 wins, so it's a mixed bag. But, if you really break it down, it's going to be somewhere in the middle of that, probably about 7.5 to 8 wins, which is about what the average is with everyone there. But again, there's great energy, a lot of support, from many different commentators, whether they're for the Big Ten, other schools, or within the Rutgers world. The support and the belief that Rutgers is on the upswing is there. Now Rutgers, does have an easier schedule in comparison to what they have done, what they have played in the past. In the past, before the new inclusion of the Western Division of the teams, you had 14 teams split into two divisions, and Rutgers always played in the Big Ten East Division, which included Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, along with Michigan State, Maryland, and Indiana. But that's no longer, there's no more divisions. So now Rutgers' current schedule is considered one of the easiest in the Big Ten. And I'll go in and I'll break that down in a little bit, going over the full schedule. But the energy in terms of the of Rutgers is very positive. It's not where, in the past we'll look down upon Rutgers, question their ability to play at a Big Ten level. They are now considered a Big Ten program. Now they're probably anywhere in the middle of the pack. So it's not that as though they're one of the top teams in the conference, but it is a good situation for Rutgers right now in terms of how people are looking and feeling about them. What's up, Arku? Thanks for tapping in, man. Really appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like button on both my channel and the Hardcore Sports Network, man. I really appreciate you being here. But I'll dive into the Rutgers schedule in a second too, and give you a breakdown and ultimately give you my feeling. Because right now I'm debating, I'm doing my research on some of the other schools. But when talking to Coach Schiano, he basically said this year's team is a culmination of the initial development of the program when he first came in back in 2019. They continue to develop. Coach Schiano consistently says that this is a developmental program because you're bringing in players and you continue to develop them. You also, in a sense, you're looking for players who fit the Rutgers culture. It's not always going to be the top 5-star, like everyone else always goes after. You try to find the right type of players that fit what you're trying to do as a program. And that's the right thing to do in terms of building any type of organization. I mean, whether it's a college program or whether it's an NFL or an NBA, you want people who fit your organization. What's up, NYG, man? I appreciate you tapping in, man. So thanks for doing that. Make sure you guys, y'all know the routine, hit the like button and all that. So have all the information in the description in reference to the channels there. So, but again, I really like what's going on with Rutgers. Coach Schiano was quoted as saying, "We've been filling the pipeline since we got there with quality young men and quality football players. And I believe now the pipeline is close to being full. Although some of it is still young, we have an experienced group at the end of the pipeline. We have a lot of NFL players that come out of this season. And to me, anytime we've had great teams come out of Rutgers, they've been made of NFL players, and that's true. That's definitely true, man. Anytime that what's up, Raph? Thanks for tapping in, man. I appreciate you. Anytime Rutgers has had great success, you also saw a large influx of talent that transferred into the NFL. And right now, this class right now, over the 2 deep, is senior laden. There's a lot of seniors and a lot of these players. Some of them could have came out this past year with Max Melton and probably been selected, late in the draft, but they probably could have been selected. Well, these kids now came back. They feel what's going on. They feel the special energy there. It's also going to help improve their draft stock. The schedule, like I said, there's still some tough games, but you're not playing the Penn States, the Michigans, the Ohio State, like you were consistently every year. Now, they closed the gap because they have been very competitive in those games. But now, with the new schedule, hopefully they'll get more wins and change the perspective. You have a big recruiting class. You have some great talent that's coming in. The future is bright for Rutgers University in terms of the football program, all programs within Rutgers. So one of the big returnees has been running back Kyle Monangai. He's the returning He was the Big Ten's leading rusher last year, and he's returning. He had 242 carries for 1,262 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he was a very productive running back. Always, whenever he played, made guys miss. Also, whenever you got hits on him, he would always fall forward. It wasn't a lot of him getting pushed back. It was always him pushing forward and getting the extra yard or two that was necessary. Schiano said what Kyle does best is that he has an incredible patience to view, to watch, to wait. But when he makes a decision to go, he's a violent runner. He's violent in the way he plays. He's violent with his feet and his legs. He doesn't stop. And that is so true. He's a very physical, if you look similar in stature to what Ray Rice was back in the day, pretty much the same type of a build, roughly about the 5'8"-ish, 5'9" range, roughly about 210, 215. But he runs behind his pads and he delivers the blow whenever he runs with the football. So definitely a great representative of Rutgers football. And it fits the Rutgers identity, which is, play good defense and, play fundamentally sound football, running with playing a lot of the run game per se. You're not throwing the ball all over the place. So Coach Schiano said, the one thing that I love to watch him, the one thing that I love is to watch him run. I'd say 98% of the time he's falling forward. He's falling in the right direction, which was what I just was talking about. That's a little bit of what our identity of our football team is. We're going to get knocked down, but let's make sure we're falling in the right direction and we get up quickly and get back at it, which is so true. I mean, that's a great thing for the Rutgers football program, as a whole, as well as the Rutgers University. I mean, and the players, not just Kyle Monangai, all of them, they have that same type of mindset. No matter what, they're going to get up and they're going to keep going. They're going to keep coming. They're going to keep chopping. One of the things that Schiano says is, chop. He always talks about chop, where you're focused on one key point and you're just continuously chopping away, just like chopping a tree. You're not going to make cuts all over the place. You're just going to focus on one key spot and keep chopping away at that until that tree just snaps and starts coming crashing down. So, but that's the one great thing about this program. It fits Jersey. I have to say, it's tough. It's blue-minded. It's grinding. And that's what it's like being here in Jersey. Not everyone fits it. It's not all glitz and glamour. It's about the hard work. It's about the commitment to the task at hand and staying focused on the task at hand. So also, you have one of the highly ranked defense. Last year, it was ranked 16th in the country in FBS. So he does have a lot of experience coming back, led by cornerback Robert Longerbeam, linebackers Tyrene Powell and Mohamed Teray, edge rusher Aaron Lewis. I mean, defensive coordinator Joe Hasirniak. I mean, this team, it number one, it fits Coach Schiano and what he has to offer. What's up, Coach Dante? Thanks for tapping in, man. I really appreciate you, man. It fits Coach Schiano with what he's trying to do and what he's trying to build. The type of football program that, as he says, is a Big Ten program. This is one thing that he harped on and spoke about before he left back in 2012. He always felt Rutgers was a Big Ten program, and it fits that type of mold, on the playing field, but also in terms of the academics. And, when you come to New Jersey and you play for Rutgers football, you're going to get a good education. You're going to be taught how to be, quality men in terms of on the football field, but in society. So But again, this is a great opportunity. The energy from everyone, speaking on Rutgers, from the Big Ten network commentators, and even some Big Ten followers, and supporters, within the heart of the Big Ten country, they all feel that Rutgers is a Big Ten program. So it's as a Rutgers fan, you know. It's something that I'm proud of. I've been following Rutgers for decades, since the mid 1980s, and I've seen the downs, I've seen some of the ups, and hopefully this is another upswing where Rutgers continues to grow and build, and puts out a program that Jersey is definitely proud of across the full spectrum. So, but again, that's one of the things I wanted to touch on real quick. He also spoke about the quarterback room, and why he made the decision to go with Ethan Kaliakmanis over Gavin Wimsatt. He felt Kaliakmanis, gave us a little bit more in terms of a passing game. He wanted to. He said if it was close, he would have let it play out. But, because Kaliakmanis is a better passer than Gavin Wimsatt, Gavin was a phenomenal runner, but his passing game was just not there. And he's been here for, 3 years. So, we would have expected more from, a 4-star kid. And it was frustrating at times. Sometimes you see a kid open in the flat, no one around him, and he just bounced the pass to him. No one would be around him, no pressure, and it was just a level of inconsistency. So, I'm not saying Kaliakmanis is the type of quarterback who can throw it all over the place, and he's one of those elite passers. No, he's a step up, but he's a middle of the pack, Big Ten type of a quarterback. And if you add that into the offense that we had last year, there's a lot of games Rutgers lost that they would have won. And instead of being 6-6 during at the end of this regular season and winning the bowl game to ultimately be 7-6, you might have won 8 and 9 games. That Iowa game, for to be honest with you, they were in it for the most part, but they were critical mistakes from the quarterback play that really did not get the offense going. Wisconsin, I still remember that 90s plus yard interception where we were down ready to go in and score a touchdown. And, Gavin threw a pass in the flat and it was picked off and returned for a touchdown. And Ohio State, we were in that game in all the way through 3 quarters. Quarterback play. I mean, you can talk about it and watch the games and you could see it. And that, more than anything, more than any other position. And I'm not saying you had, there weren't any issues with other position groups, but the the quarterback play was a big factor into why Rutgers didn't win 9 games. Maybe they could have even, well, I'm not going to say that, but definitely 9 games, and that's a big factor. That's a major factor for Rutgers. So, but now, this is a different time, different era. Now, if we can go ahead and, those same games that we're talking about, walk away with the wins, it would be definitely, you will see a different perspective and a different outcome in terms of Rutgers football. So now I'm pulling up some of the notable quotes from Media Day in terms of Rutgers. One of the biggest supporters for Rutgers is analyst, BTN college football analyst Jake Butt, former tight end of Michigan. So he's very familiar with the Big Ten and what's going on. And he's quoted as saying, quote, "I've been heavy on the Rutgers train today. I feel it's justified. They're a dark horse team to keep an eye on this season." So, it's something that, you definitely want to keep an eye on, going forward. But, he speaks, to a lot of the thought process when it comes to Rutgers. Many people feel the same way, many commentators. So, So again, I've harped on, the running back, the quarterback. Another group that I'm going to be keeping my eye on, and I think is going to be a key factor, is the wide receiver. Shiano even said, I think a wide receiver corps will be markedly better than it was a year ago. I think it's more personnel. I think there's things that the personnel will allow us to do. Uh, that's one of the things that makes Kirk, offense coordinator Kirk Chiraka, very special. He doesn't try to do things when we don't have the people to do it, but when we do have them, he knows exactly what to do. So, he's going to go ahead and use the wide receiver group. We have a deep wide running back group, with Sam Brown, Jashawn Benjamin, Antoine Raymond, even freshman Gabe Winovich and Eddie Guerrero. They're going to be on the back end, but those are some talented players there. In terms of the running back room for Rutgers. So it's going to be very interesting, and exciting this year coming up. So I look forward to it. Just last thing to close out on the Rutgers football. They're actually having a pool party. It should be today. So this is going to be a barbecue pool party that will visit with the coaching staff today and tomorrow. It will consist of all the 2025 commits. So, it's going to be a very deep class. I'm looking at it. You even have some 2026 kids who are going to be here, led by Rutgers commit Gavin Sidwar from LaSalle College in Pennsylvania. So, but yeah, it's a very deep class. I'm sorry, list of players who are coming out to the barbecue. You also have some kids from 27 and 28. So excited to see. I'm excited to hear that. I like hearing that. So, again, kudos to the coaching staff and to Rutgers Nation and what's going on there. So with that being said, I'm just going to move on now to the basketball program. Just real quick. Oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of Rutgers is their schedule. I talked about, the projection. I'm just going to go over that real quick just to before I close it out officially. August 29th, Thursday, it'll be youth football night. They're going to be hosting Howard in Piscataway. So it's going to be, the kickoff of the season, one of the earliest Big Ten games that's out there, as well as in all of college football. So I definitely am going to be tuned into that one. No matter where it is. The following week, they're going to be hosting Akron. That's a Saturday afternoon. The Howard game kicks off at 6 p.m. The Akron kicks off at 12 noon. It's called the R Community Game. So that's in reference to, the Rutgers community as a whole. They then have a bye before the following week. They travel to Virginia Tech. That's a Saturday. No definite kickoff time as of yet, but that's a big game in itself right there for Rutgers. Going down to Blacksburg's always tough to play down there at Lane Stadium. This is going back to the first time when Virginia Tech and Rutgers were in the old Big East. I mean, it was always a brutal game and a tough game for Rutgers. Going back to then, but hopefully Rutgers will come out victorious, and this starts the trend of closing out the season, because after the first two games, all the other games are hit or miss. I mean, they could win them, or they could easily, lose a game here or there. So it's going to be a testament to Coach Yano and the will and the fortitude of this football team. The next game will be 6 days later, Friday evening, 8 p.m. in Piscataway. They host Washington University. Washington flies out from the West Coast and they take on Rutgers. That's going to be a blackout game. So if you're planning on going, you got to make sure you wear black because that's what that game is about. It's the blackout game. The following week, they head out to Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, and they take on the University of Nebraska. It's right now. There's 3 time slot: noon, 3:30, or 4 o'clock on Saturday. So it's pretty much that's the way it's going to end up. I think it's going to be contingent upon the record. Both teams are undefeated. You might see that around a 3:30 game, 3:30 kickoff, 3:30 4 o'clock kickoff. The following week, Rutgers comes home, and it's a Scarlet out game. They're going to be hosting Wisconsin. No definite time kickoff time, but it's here in Piscataway, so that's always a tough one for Rutgers. Oh, I don't think they've beaten Wisconsin yet since they've been in the Big Ten, so we'll see how that goes. Then the 19th, they also host UCLA. That's the homecoming game. Same type of time frame for Nebraska, whether it's a noon, 3:30, or 4 o'clock, hasn't been determined yet, but they're going to be hosting them at SHI Stadium. The following week, the 25th, they're going to fly out to Los Angeles Friday night, and they're going to be taking on USC at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. East Coast time, it's 11 p.m. kickoff. West Coast at the 8 o'clock kickoff. So it's going to be a tough one for Rutgers, especially with the time frame and the kickoff time. So then they come home after another break, another bye after the USC game. So pretty much they're almost, if you want to say what, they're going to have, what is that, 6? They're literally going to have 2 weeks off. They're going to be hosting Minnesota, Military Appreciation Time, Saturday. No kickoff time as of yet. Then the 16th, they're heading down to Maryland to take on Maryland. No kickoff time. Then they come back, their final home game on the 23rd. It's the Senior Day and the Thank You Fans Day, where they host Illinois. And finally, the end of the season, they head out to Lansing, Michigan to take on Michigan State. So that's going to be the schedule. That's the way it lays out for Rutgers. To be brutally honest, I think they're 7-5 to 8-4. That's what I'm thinking right now. So now everything is contingent upon, honestly, how that season starts out. If they end up, say, after the first 5 games, 2-3 or 3-2, 3-2 will probably get them around 7-5. If they're 2-3, it's going to be tough. Maybe they'll be 6-6. But let's say for argument's sake, out of the first 5, they're undefeated before they come home to host Wisconsin. Then it really could be a nice run. Especially if they can get past Wisconsin with a win, where they can probably end up, with maybe one loss, maybe none. But again, it's a hit or miss one way or another. I ultimately think it's going to be a 7-5, 8-4 season for Rutgers football. So, but that's what I wanted to talk about a little in terms of the Rutgers football. Like I said, now I'm going to move over to the basketball, and let's see. I wanted to just talk a little bit about what I've been seeing with Rutgers basketball. There's a lot going on. They're in practice camp, practice camp right now. Seeing a lot of highlights from Ace Bailey for one. Some of the things that he's doing, the plays that he's making. It's really interesting and exciting to sit back and watch him play. So this kid is just phenomenal, man. I just sat back and just watch him. His level of athleticism, the way that he goes out there and he just dunks the basketball. I'm going to show you guys a little clip that I have of him so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Just the overall athleticism. So, and then just one other thing, and then it's a little clip I'm going to, bring up it's dealing with a little bit of the bigs, one of the coaches, what he's doing, how he's trying to help the players develop. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up so you guys can take a look here. at what I have to offer. And here we go in terms of Ace Bailey. If you just look at the level of athleticism this young man has, man, it's just phenomenal. This is one of the reasons why many people are so excited about Rutgers basketball and what he has to offer. So, um, I'm also going to bring in um, this is Coach Marlon Williamson with what he's coaching. Um, I just didn't want to put the volume on, but we can see what he's saying. He's talking about how to seal the block, and then work with the pick and roll, and then turn and receive the ball. And that's some of the things that he's working on. Now you see how he's working with some of the big guys right there, being physically tough with them, but helping them, in terms of finishing the basket, finishing at the basket. So, um, these are some of the things that I'm just excited to see coming from Rutgers and coming from the football and the basketball program. I mean, it's really really exciting, man. Yeah, future Brooklyn Net. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, he can definitely get out there and Brooklyn gets that top one of those top to three picks. Yeah, I definitely see him, ending, with Brooklyn, whether it's him, whether it's Dylan Harper or Cooper Flag, it would definitely be a good pickup for Brooklyn. So, but yeah, Ace Bailey, man. I mean, the level of athleticism is just so dynamic, man. I mean, his ability to just get up there and dunk. Now he's slight of frame, and he does have to get stronger. Teams are going to definitely test him. In terms of being physical with him, but I think he will be able to adjust. And plus with his range, his shooting range. Once starts hitting that shot from outside, it's just going to change the whole narrative for his game. He can still take it off the dribble, and again, like I said, he can finish at the rim. So and there's moments when his 3-point shooting is fire. Which is why he's thought of as one of the top talented players coming out of this draft. So and once you get him into any strength and conditioning program, and once he develops, then his game's just definitely going to grow. So I look forward to seeing him go and develop. So, and which the pick and roll fundamentals coach are key for big men. Yes, it is. Definitely. It definitely is. What's up, Cade? Thanks for tapping in. What's good, Coach? Smash that like button, share and subscribe and share on all social media platforms. That is correct, man. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. So, but yeah, NYJ, yeah, pick and roll fundamentals are key. And what Coach was just saying, what Coach Williamson was just saying was just immense, man. When you seal it, and then when you just open with the ball handler, you're showing him basically your chest. It's just basic fundamentals. It's going to open up and allow you to attack the rim and score. So, and these guys, while they're young, they're still strong. They're still strong. So, that's something that I'm excited to see from Rutgers going forward, with the basketball program, and the development from the coaches, man. I mean, it's really, really, really intriguing. It's exciting, and it's something that, I have always appreciated, man. So, um, sorry, just got distracted for a second. So, but yeah, I mean, that's something that, in terms of the world of Rutgers athletics, I've just been so excited, man. Now, if I can get the women, I mean, Coach Coquise is doing a good job in terms of getting talent and just develop them. But if we can get all three on par, and then you have Rutgers wrestling, and a lot of the other Olympic sports programs are developing, Rutgers is not going to be a program that people can look down upon any longer. And that's what is needed. And you know what? Rutgers is starting to secure a lot of Jersey kids, a lot of East Coast kids to stay in the area and play big time college athletics. And again, why not Rutgers? Let's do it for Jersey. Let's do it for the R. Let's do it for the tri-state. So, but that's it right now in terms of talking Rutgers athletics. I'm going to go ahead now and move over to the NFL. A lot going on in the NFL. I mean, you got training camps. Right now everyone is, pretty much getting in gear. And I've been watching a lot of the media commentaries. In terms of talking about different teams. I'm not going to get into my team, the Giants. I mean, it's enough at dealing with the fan base alone. But one of the things that I've noticed is today, for example, there was a lot of talk in terms of the Dallas Cowboys. Excuse me. And there were comments made by Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and, it just really seemed like, first and foremost, the contract situation, CeeDee Lamb, excuse me, CeeDee Lamb, there's so much going on. I was watching Unsportsmanlike, and, the way that they position the thought with the Cowboys is, most other teams, when you have a quarterback of Dak Prescott's caliber, and I'm not saying he's the number one. Coach Colquise is definitely a baller, man cave. She definitely is. But in terms of the Cowboys, I mean, if you have, a fairly good program, you secure your coach, you secure your quarterback, and you build from there. But right now, one of the questions was, what are they doing? Are they setting themselves up to go into a total rebuild? When you think about Jerry Jones, he's, in a sense on that last leg in life, and he wants to win another championship. I find it hard to believe, but I understand the reason why they're asking that, because the actions say otherwise. Because you would secure your coach. What's up, Nimar? Thanks for tapping in, man. I really appreciate you. You would secure your coach. I mean, they've won 12 games. How many teams in the league would want to win 12 games? And everybody want their money from Jerry Jones. Yeah, I know, NYG. But one of the things they were talking about is, which it left me thinking and scratching my head. It said, don't forget, Jerry Jones is a businessman. Jerry Jones wants that money. They're the most popular franchise in all of football, in tops in most of all sports. So it's what's up, NYG from RAF? It's confusing, in terms of what the Cowboys are doing ultimately. Because they even said in terms of, if you look at the NFC East, in terms of functionality, I don't agree with it wholeheartedly, but I understand their thinking. Said in terms of being a functional program, right now the only team is the Redskins. The Eagles, you have issues with rumors with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Of course, the Cowboys and the Giants. There's so much going on with all those problems. But Washington, you have new ownership, you have a new management group, you have a new coach, you even have a new quarterback. And in terms of functionality and building up the organization, what's up, Raph? I get why they're saying that. And the logic says yes, but, in the end, it's going to take some time before they become a top-level competitive organization. But, in theory, yeah, that's what you want to do. Especially if you have a new ownership group, you have new management, you get a new coach, get your quarterback. You want to make everybody have everybody aligned, and you want to build and grow like that. And I get that part, and that in that sense is true. But you know what? It's still about winning on the field. You know, no matter what you say or do, it's still going to be about winning. You know, and right now the Eagles and the Cowboys have been winning. And I know Giants fan, we hate hearing that. You know, NYG, I know you're going to get sick of it, especially when it comes to Philadelphia. But the truth of the matter is they've been winning. And, you know, the Giants, we haven't been winning. We have been dysfunction the last decade. But what is saying is functional in terms of the way that they're building the organization. I'm not talking about past experience. We're talking about from this year going forward. So you have your new ownership group, you have your new management, you have your new head coach, you have even a new quarterback. That's building, and everyone is aligned together. You can debate whether the coach is right, but when you put everything together, that's how you develop a functional type of an organization, to be honest with you. And that is true. You know, prior to this year, yeah, we can sit here and rip them apart. You know, they had poor ownership, you know, and they had poor quarterback play. But now, you know, you can argue, and legitimately they're built up. They put the top of the organization in a place where it's going to function properly, and then you can add on going from there. They're still rebuilding. They're not, like I said, they're not, you know, a playoff contender. They're not even ready to compete for the playoffs. But I do understand why people look at them as a functional organization. You know, the Giants, hopefully we can shut everyone up and we can go out there and win games and get into the playoffs. You know, maybe like Lou says, 11-6. Who knows? But you know, but again, we also have to deal with, you know, the hate and the debate in terms of the players just in our own fan base. Forget everyone else, but yeah, let them have the yeah, exactly. We'll see on the field. I did say that. In the end, it is about the wins and losses. You know, right now, Dallas and Philadelphia has it. They've been winning. The Giants in Washington haven't. That's the truth, you know. And you know, until we start winning consistently, until Washington starts winning consistently, they're going to be looked at bottom feed as a bottom feeding organization. But in terms of putting things in order, that's where Washington can be considered functional. And I do agree, putting the owner, the coach, the quarterback together, that does show that you are trying to build and you're trying to be a functional organization. Jerry Jones, look at what he's doing, man. You have a coach, and whether you like him or not, and you question his ability to, you know, win the championship. Look, he's winning 12 games every year. He's winning 12 games every year, getting them to the playoff. Dak Prescott, you know, until he gets over the hump as far as winning, okay, you can make that argument, but he's still a top 10 quarterback. You want to say top 11, top 12? Okay, you can make that argument. You can make that debate, but he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And this is why with Jerry Jones, you don't lock him up. I mean, look at Tua today. Tua just signed for what, 4 years, 200 and whatever $1 million. I mean, you won't give Dak Prescott his money? You know, it's like, okay, he'll go somewhere else and he'll get his money, and you know, if he goes to the right situation, you know, let's say he went down to New Orleans, you know, what's to say he couldn't win down there? You know, no, I'm not saying the Giants. You and I know NYG, we talked about that. Giants can't afford him. So I'm not even going to put, even though some people try to say the Giants, no, you know, or the Vegas Raiders, you know, he can go out there and, you know, that could win, you know, and that's the thing, you know, you're not acting like a functional type of an organization. You know, you're worrying about probably giving a wide receiver the money as opposed to the quarterback. And what everybody always says, what does everybody always say? We're in a day and age of the quarterback. This is now a passing league, and it's about the quarterback first. Well, Dallas, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You know, Jerry Jones, you say you want to win the championship. Okay, if you don't believe in the coach, then you get a coach in here. Look, you could probably go out there and get Bill Belichick tomorrow. You know, let's be real. You can get Bill Belichick in there tomorrow. and Belichick will get them on the right order. So was Washington has a bunch of question marks, just like the Giants. How does that make them functional, and the Giants not? As I said, ownership, management, coach, quarterback. When you come in together all at once, and I said they're rebuilding, but in terms of developing a functional organization, look, NYG, we have people in this organization questioning Joe Shane, questioning Mara. You yourself is questioning Mara. You said he meddles too much. You yourself said that. Dable, people have ranted about Dable, and everybody harps about Daniel Jones. That's not functional, bro. That's what I'm talking about. You can't sit here and say that, that's functional for the Giants, especially from the fan base. But you talk to most Washington fans, I'm not saying everyone. They're like, okay, well, we're going to give it a chance to see. Yes, they have to win. They still have to build. I did say that, you know what? They still have a ways to go, but you start at the head. And right now, in terms of the head perspective, that they seem to be building the right way, rebuilding, their program. You come in with new ownership, come in with new management, come in with a new head coach, come in with a quarterback. If you don't agree with certain players or coaches or management, that's one thing, but you align it all together. And that's where the functionality comes into play that I'm referring to. So, and Washington has it, the Giants don't. Like I said about Philadelphia, the quarterback and the head coach are supposedly, at ends. They might try and spin it that they're not, but that's where the level of functionality comes into play. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But again, this is what they were talking about on Unsportsmanlike the past couple of days. I mean, I did get sick of every time I turned it on. They start out with Dallas Cowboy talk. Paying the money to Zach and to CeeDee Lamb and to Micah Parsons. And at least we would have rather them start with someone else. But I get it. Dallas draws the clicks and the giggles and the shits, as my man Jeff Costello would say. So what's up, Tommy? Thanks for tapping in, man. I appreciate you. Health and wealth to you and your family as well. So, but right now I'm just ready to, I'm waiting until next week when the pads start coming on, man. That's the one thing I really want to see. Get the pads on, get the popping. Let's get to the Hall of Fame game and really see some real football, man. Let's really see some real football. Let's get the guys out there and let's get into the seeing some of real sport. I'm sorry. Y'all can tell me basketball is a sport and soccer and all that, but for me, it's always going to be football. Team sport. Let me rephrase it. Team sport. The ultimate team sport is football. Because, everyone is dependent on someone else doing their job for the most part. You don't have a superstar who can take over the game and dominate, like everyone, like in other sports. So, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen there in terms of this season coming up. So, yeah, we're going to have the same, top names and this or that. And I get it. But, in the same token, I'm just ready to, see some football, see the pads popping, see guys, getting smacked around, all that good stuff. That's me, as an old football head, what I look for in terms of from football. So that's where the excitement comes from me. So I'm ready for it. So hopefully you guys are too. You're ready to see some good football, and hopefully your teams, give you a sense of joy. Hopefully my Giants will, for the most part, shut up most of the fan base and go out there and be competitive and win and put a good product out on the field. So definitely looking forward to it. So, um, so, but let's see. What'd you say? Who's your top five defensive players in the NFL right now? Sexy Dexy is definitely one. Chris Jones is another. I don't want to say it, but yeah, Micah Parsons is one. You know, I hate saying that. You know, I hate saying that. So, um, top five. Nah, Bosa's not. Yeah. Is Bosa out in Frisco is another. Mm, mm, really? That's hard to say, man. That's really hard, man. In terms of top five, though, because I'm thinking about Hutchinson. I'm thinking about the other Bosa down in L.A. Um, I'm thinking about the line. Oh, what's the linebacker down in Baltimore? No, is it Queen? Bro, it's hard to say. See, it's hard, bro. I mean, plus, with NYG, I guess I'm too partial to the front five, front seven. Safeties are good. Don't get me wrong, but you get more in for me. You get more impact from the front seven than you do on the back end. And I'm not saying the back end isn't important. They are, and they can lock down. They can lock down, just about anybody. But you see, yeah, coach, yeah, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Sauce Gardner, okay, Fred Warner, Chris Jones, yeah, those are some good ones. Okay, I can't argue with that. There you go. NYG says Sauce Gardner, so it's Fred Warner out in Frisco. I mean, look at what their defense does. It's me, especially when it comes to the trenches, man. The trenches are where it really, yeah, good answer. So I mean, I can't. There's a corner right there with Sauce. So, but if you look at everyone else, the rest of them is your front seven. So I mean, I'll give you Sauce Gardner. There you go. You want to put him in there, especially as a young developing cornerback. So, but let me see what Tommy said. Hurts Barkley, half sorry, boy a wonder, gets ran off from everywhere. Fangio, so-called great defense, can't keep a job. Whack Dak, nose dirty. Jerry doing him wrong. CD ain't with Jerry's bull part. Yeah, you said it just like you said, Dak Prescott, but Jerry is doing him wrong. Why is he not giving him his money? So it's like, that we're in a day and age. Chris Jones is number one. Without him, Patrick Mahoney, Chiefs don't win. Okay. Well, the question was, Tommy, the top five defensive players. So that's why we weren't, talking offensive, players in terms of Patrick Mahomes. But, and it's up to everyone's, personal perspectives. Me, I'm a trench guy. I'm a front seven guy. I mean, part of it is because that's what I played in college. I've always been partial to the big guys. Most of my coaching, has been, offensive, defensive lines. I've coached all phases, but, most of it has been on the defensive side, but, I mean, it didn't matter. I just knew how offensively to attack defenses. I mean, as an OC, I think my average is 35.7 points per game. And defensively, the most points as a DC that I've ever given up is 28 in my whole career. So I understand that. So that's why, most people say I'm a defensive minded coach. Tommy, in my opinion, he's number one DT, 3 tech in the league. So, but again, yeah, Chris Jones. I did say Chris Jones. That's why I said Dexter. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, so I'm partial to him. But it is, it is, it is. It's and like I said, the trenches are my babies, man. They just are, man. And having played and knowing everything that goes on in the trenches, the physical play, and more than any other position group in football, the trenches is about more than anything. It's about imposing your will on the opposition. Because you have to physically move another grown ass man, a grown ass person from point A to point B. And that's a hard thing to do. Goodrich Jones has to be at the top for sure. He dominates. Yeah, exactly. He dominates, and he's a bottom line. He's a championship. He's a championship leader. So he goes out there and he makes the critical plays. So I will never. Miles Garrett is definitely a great one. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it, Coach? Oh, here it is. T.J. Watt. I mean, what can you say? Fred Warner as a linebacker. I can't argue with that. I was trying to remember the coach over there on in Baltimore. Baltimore has always had some good defensive players there. So, but Dex is top 5. So is Chris Jones. Crazy. The Giants thought about pairing them together. So I agree there. So yeah. So when you sit down and again you break it down, I mean, and again, every last player that you guys are talking about, legit. Garrett doesn't do that. TJ doesn't do it. Sauce doesn't do it. But Jones has proved it when superstars need to make plays. Wait a minute. Miles Garrett hasn't done it. TJ doesn't do it. Now, if you're talking about winning championship, Tommy, all right, fine. But when how many times have you seen them go out there and take over a game? I mean, let me make sure I'm reading this right. Superstar needed to make plays. He was undeniably a superstar who made the game-winning play. Yeah, in the championship, I give it to you. But again, if we're going to just compartmentalize and talk about their play, is it about their play or is it about getting it to a championship? Because again, this is a team sport. I said it before. This is the ultimate team sport. In football, you can't just rely on one player to get to the championship or win or a Super Bowl. Sorry. No one can sit here and tell me, oh, yes, you can, because that's BS. But if you sit down and you look at their play and how they perform, come on, man. You have to respect game, man. You can't just hate on them because you don't like them for whatever reason. But if you look at their game, Miles Garrett has done so many different things, explosive off the edge. Some of his counter moves is just phenomenal. How he'll set up a tackle going outside and then slip right up underneath them, and vice versa, spin moves. How he seals. I mean, to say that they don't do it, no, I'm sorry, Tommy. I disagree with you, brother. I disagree with you. These guys do it at the top level. Now, if you want to argue they haven't gotten to a championship game, okay, but that to me is not about what this is about as far as the discussion, because it's talking about top defensive players. But you need the offense to get to a championship. You need your special teams to get to a championship. But do they perform when they go out there and they play? So that's how I look at it. So it may be the best in the league. TJ is best outside linebacker. It's a team sport. Those guys are elite and to me are better than Chris. That I don't know, Coach, because we're talking about different positions and outside linebacker being up inside. Sometimes you're getting double and triple team a lot more than you would on the edge. So, Chris Jones has dominated. Look what he did in the Super Bowl too. So, he had his moments. Damn near unstoppable when they're healthy. So, take those players off that team. They keep rolling. Garrett played in Texas. I've seen monsters. He's seen monster years. TJ is better than his brother in H-Town, Texas. But without them, those teams win with. Okay. If you feel that way, I don't. They bring something that, whether you say they win, technically, yes, they can win games. But it's Tommy. What you are doing is you're literally diminishing their play and what they bring to the table, and how offenses gear certain blocking schemes to them. See, and that's something I don't. I wonder, are you including in your evaluation? Sure. Championships are not good. Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's true they are losing until Jones got paid. What do you mean? It's true they were losing until Jones got paid. I guess what WDY means. What do you mean? When you said those players, you were talking about Garrett and TJ, that the teams would win without them. And I'm saying to you, technically, yes, they can win a game or they can win some games, but they also contribute to the win. Teams sometimes have to give help to blocking, these guys. So I love Garrett and TJ. Believe me, they're monsters. But what Jones does in the middle for his team, no, I look when it comes to Jones. I said he's one of the best in the league. He plays and he can play inside and outside. So he's not just an inside player. So there's times he goes out to the edge and he produces. That in itself is hard. If you've never played the defensive line, I'm telling you, that is hard. Going from a zero tech all the way outside to playing a 6-7, that's hard because there are different techniques also. There's different things that you need to do. And there's different things that you will see. Inside sometimes you can get triple team. Outside, you all right, you get a tight end, you get a back. Sometimes you get the guard who'll slide out and they'll slide out. So, but let's talk about who's next. That boy Dex will be even better if they keep this for. Well, look, that's what we're hoping for. But see, look what you just said. If they keep four together, that means it's a team sport. If he doesn't have the four, then he's seeing triple teams. So that reduces what he does. So again, the ultimate. That's the thing about football. That's the beauty about football. It's the ultimate team sport. A guy like Dexter Lawrence or Chris Jones on the interior may open it up for guys on the outside. Guys like Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt can open it up for on the inside. Pittsburgh, T.J. Watt. Don't forget about it. He has Hayward on the inside. I mean that helps that blocking. That helps him in itself right there. Especially when they and they put both of them on the same side. How does an offensive line block them? That's hard in itself. So, and Myles Garrett's best edge was Jalen, and that tells you something. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, again, we can sit here and debate, who's better or not, but they're all good, and they all bring something to the table defensively. Different things, different perspectives, different abilities, but they all bring something. And my thing is, you can't just diminish and take away and say, "Oh, they're not good," or your team is going to continue to win without you. They're going to win some, but they're also not going to win. They're not going to win as much. So he's surrounded by mediocre players. I don't want to say they're me, because that defense is still tough, man. They're not. They're one of the top 10, and it's not just because of Myles Garrett. There's other players out there that helps contribute. JJ won plenty of them, and it didn't make it over the hump. I'm here in Houston. I've seen it. Vince left. It was over for the Texans and the AFC South dominance they had going. Okay. I don't know. No, I know what you meant here in H Tommy. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. So, um, hmm. Again, see, that's the thing that frustrates me as a coach, where we get so enamored with stripping down and making one player in football seem like they're the most unstoppable force. In football, you still need others. LT and Reggie White were probably two who their play helped make others better. Now, Reggie, though, when he first was there with the Eagles, when you had Jerome Brown and the rest of all them there, they helped. But when he went to Green Bay, Reggie White was just at a totally different level. So every player needs somebody, and even LT. When LT was in his prime, yeah, he still just did things that were just so amazing. Most of you guys may not have seen him play. It's hard to really quantify and explain to you fully if you never saw him play how he changed how teams would block, block a dominant player like him, how teams, did certain things. They even used to run away from him, because they figured that would slow him down and he still would make plays from the backside, and then if you tried to run at him, he still was making plays. So, and you could triple team him. You could give him the guard, the tackle, as well as a running back or tight end, and he's still sacking quarterback. So, other than that, it's yes, they all need each other, and we get in that habit of just making it just like this player is just all that when they all need everyone. Myles Garrett, yes, he's good. Chris Jones, he's good. These guys are elite in today's day and age, but in the same token, they're not changing the game also. Very few players have changed the game. That's, to me, is when you see and you know that these players are at another level. If they change the game, if you make teams choose to get out of the huddle and look automatically where Lawrence Taylor was at. They weren't doing that prior to that. And I even used to watch the Steel Curtain. Excuse me. I used to watch the Steelers. My dad's in the 70s, I watched Mean Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Mel Blount. I mean, I used to watch them and watch how they played. But they needed each other. The dominant defensive line is a championship run. All the teams that have the juice to make it have a dominant defensive line, even if it's no, exactly. I will always tell you up front is probably more impactful to the back end than the back end. Deion has said it too himself. He said no cornerback can stay with a receiver 5 seconds. None. But if you get a defensive line that's pushing a pocket in a quarterback's face and he has to get rid of that ball within 2 seconds, that helps the defensive backs. Now can a defensive back plaster on and help take away one receiver and then the quarterback check down and try and go look to someone else, but now the pressure is coming to him? Yeah, but that's usually within 2 to 4 seconds. Dex is about to change the game with those edges he has in the coaching and the play calling that is specifically rushing for. Change the game. Tommy, listen what you're saying. Change the game. You're saying that's why I said LT's the only one that I've ever known that I watched. That not even Deion. Deion didn't change the game. They might have changed how, you might attack him once in a while, but change the game. When I'm telling you, you're automatically sliding your line to try and give help automatically to him. They weren't doing that back in the 80s. They weren't doing that. They were not doing that. If you had your man and you would block him one-on-one, you weren't really giving a lot of double team help. On occasion inside you might, but on the edge, on the outside, nah, you weren't doing that in the 80s. The way that teams started doing that with LT. I'm telling you from experience, watching, studying this game, and I've been studying it since my dad can tell you. I used to tell him at 10 years old who was going to get the ball with the Steelers. I could tell him Franco Harris was going to get the ball, Rocky Bleier, Cunningham, the tight end, was going to get the ball, passes going to Lynn Swan, going to John Stallworth. Why? Because I studied tendencies. I picked up on that. I looked at down and distance. And I studied. LT was just at a different level, man. Was at a different level. Now, I never saw Jim Brown. I've heard stories about Jim now. Maybe he changed, how you ran the football, especially with bigger backs. But LT changed how you blocked a defensive player. Literally. No one else has done anything like that in the history of the game. Sorry. No, they changed how, spreading it out, passing, going from purely running to, the forward pass, and I forgot who was it, Pop Warner? I think Pop Warner introduced, or was it Newt Rockney? I think it was Newt Rock. No, it was Pop Warner who introduced the forward pass, and that's coaching. And that's the rules of the game. But, no, LT is the only one. And everyone that we're talking about, no, they have not changed. Dexter hasn't, and I don't think Dexter is going to change the game. It's not going to change the game. So, look, I'm very, very, I play on words. I do. So when you say things, NYG will tell you, when you say things like that, I'm going to take that word, change the game. No, Dexter. How's Dexter going to change the game from an interior perspective? I'm not saying he's not going to have an effect, but to change the game, JJ was LT-ish. No, he was not. No, he was not. No, he was not. Sorry. I just told you what LT did. JJ has help. Yes, he does. He has help on the inside with Cam. It's also a matter of schemes. Yes, they move him around. So now that's what you mean because they move him around. But no. I'm telling you, I've watched LT. I've watched LT take an offensive tackle, lift him up, and throw him out of the way to go get a quarterback. I've never seen any defensive player like that except Reggie White literally lift up an offensive lineman. And I'm talking about a 300-pounder plus. I have never seen any defensive player do it like that. Do they have some great counter moves? Hell yes. Hell yes. I love watching the counter moves. I love when they bull rush them, but okay. And that's also in today's day and age. So spread it out, coach. Yeah. Y'all know me better than this is no pause. So yeah, you can make the jokes all you want. You ain't getting me to say that. Y'all know what I mean by spread it out. Spread out offense. If you want me to be technical, 5 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. That's what I mean by spread it out. This ain't no pause over here. But Randy, I hope you're good, bro. Nothing but love and respect, man. I hope everything's all right. So, but yeah. He's not consistently triple teamed the way LT was. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, bro. I know you good. You good. So exactly, no pause. This is a no pause zone. So, Tommy, let me say this. Okay, I'm not saying JJ Watt has not been triple teamed. Yes, he has. TJ Watt has been triple teamed. Yes, he has. So I do respect their game, but the level of impact that they've had is nothing compared to what LT did. I'm sorry. It's nothing. And I've seen them all. I've watched Dion. Dion could take away one receiver, but he could not impact the offense, the offense, because the offense can go to a number 2 or 3 on occasion. But an LT forced you to get rid of that ball quickly. And LT put the fear of God in some of these quarterbacks. Mr. Bro, can't wait to come back soon. Chat later. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. LT was one of a kind. White will never be exactly. Agree, Jones. Considering that Dex is about to reach. No, yes, Dex is about to reach his develop and grow. Yes, I agree with you. Especially with the way the game is played today. Yes, they all have an impact. So, and that's why I'm saying, like when we sit here and try to take players and it's just like Patrick Mahomes or any quarterback. every quarterback is dependent on everyone else. A quarterback is dependent on receivers catching the ball and making plays. They were dependent on their offensive line or the tight ends in terms of blocking, even the running back picking up blitzes. They can't do it themselves. Tom Brady's former wife said it best. He can't throw and catch the ball too. That speaks volumes in itself right there. Everyone on that field needs everyone. The offense also needs the defense. The defense also needs the special. They need everyone. That's why, to me, football is the ultimate team sport, and that's why sometimes I'm not saying unjustly. You want to look at every player's abilities and you want to judge it. Yeah, that's fine. But what I'm saying is sometimes we go to the extreme to make them seem like, oh, they're God's gift to football. A lot of it is because of the money. I get it. Tua getting $200 and some odd $1 million, but yet still people want to complain about Daniel Jones. So, and Tua's had talent around him. Tua has had the weapons around him. So, but that's another argument. That's another story. I'm not going there. My main point is we take these players today and try to put them at another level. Now, people talk about Tom Brady and, he's the GOAT. My argument is I can't see him being the GOAT when he's won a lot of Super Bowls because he's been there a lot. But if we're going to go there, Joe Montana is undefeated. And he got 4 Super Bowl rings. He's undefeated. It's just like as a Giants fan, when people talk to me about the Dallas Cowboys are the best team the NFC East has ever had. Look at how many Super Bowls they've won. Okay, they won 5 Super Bowls, but they lost 3. So they've been there 8 times. The Giants have been there 5 times, and they've won 4. So they have an 800 winning percentage, while the Dallas Cowboys are at 66%. You want to talk about being the best? And if we go further and truly include all the professional sports championships, the Giants have 8 championships. But we also have, some losses in the early championships too. So it's like, okay, we can skew it however we want, but the facts are the facts. If you take everything from the beginning until now, the best to me is the Green Bay Packers. They have 13 championships. And I think they have 3 losses in their whole history. So skew it how we want. But if we look at, these players and you want to sit here, Tom Brady to me is not the GOAT. Sorry. People can argue me down. They played in different eras, but the impact to the game and what they did, Joe Montana, if you're going to talk about championships, as far as quarterback, he's undefeated. He hasn't lost. Tom Brady can't even beat the NFC East in the Super Bowl. 2 losses to the Giants and 1 to the Eagles. I'm just saying. So, but you see how I skewed it into my own personal narrative? And you guys can probably come back to me and skew it a different way. And that's cool. That's cool. I get it. So, but yeah, this debate, this conversation has been great. So, but I got to get into the next phase, which I said I wanted to talk. Well, before I do that, do y'all have any other debates, questions, arguments, anything else you wanted to hit me with before I move on to the Olympics? That's what I want to get into before I close this out, is the Olympics and what's going on. Just briefly touch on it. So, but oh, okay, Raph. I see. What do you see with the Giants so far? As far as right now, we're just a team still trying to work and develop and build ourselves up. It's still way too early. We've only had 1 week of training camp, so I'm not getting into all this. Oh, Daniel Jones overthrew this and overthrew that. It's the start of training camp. This is when they should be doing all that shit. I mean, because you overthrew, but that's just people who really just hate on Daniel Jones. But every quarterback is going to overthrow passes, whatever, and they're going to have a bad day, But it's just starting out. It's really, and remember, he didn't start anything. He didn't work much in the OTAs and the mini camp. So this is his full action. So and some plays offense is going to win, some plays defense is going to win. But all this narrative, look, I want to see what's really going to be telling for me is the run game. It's going to be the run game more than anything. How do we use the run game? How physical are we going to be up front to open up the running lanes for our running backs? And how effective are we going to be? And more than anything, in short yardage, what are we going to do? How are we going to use the short yardage game? Because that's the biggest thing. 3rd and 1, are we going to come out spread offense and try and pass? Because right now, that's what concerns me. The big more than anything else, short yardage. Because if you get down to that goal line and see, and that's the thing that most people don't look at when you do your evaluation. If you can't use short yardage, what are you going to do when you get down to the goal line? You're at the 1 yard line and you can't get 1 freaking yard. They say with Neal out, that he is going to be the odd man out going into the season. Yeah, that's what fans say. But so far, Shane and Dable have said otherwise. They led me to believe something totally different. So I can't sit here and say that Neal is the odd man out, because they're telling me that Neal is in the mix and he's the starting right tackle. So when he comes back, he's going to get his job. So and that tells me that they also have the mindset that you don't lose your position because of injury, unless somebody comes in and just really, really just blows it away. So, oops, what the heck? Come on. Here we go. Joey and company know that it's the easy way to get him off of the right tackle position if the other gel and wins games. Well, of course, if they're producing and productive, it's a catch-22, because right now they've led me to believe, and that's the thing. Now if fans don't want to believe them, then that's different. That's on them. But right now, all indication, in my opinion, is Neal is your right tackle. I don't want it to be more of well, Ed, you believe in Evan Neal, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I believe in him, but I'm also about, I want this team to win. And if Jermaine Illuminor ends up being the best player for the position, then let's rock and roll and let's go with it. But ultimately, what are you going to do? What are they going to do? Are they speaking just, because they don't want to give out information? Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm gonna pull back a little bit with Neal. I mean, again, it's hard for me to argue. Him when he's starting out. What's up, Earl? Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you, man. As always, thanks for always being supportive, man. With Evan Neal, it's hard for me to argue supporting him as vigorously as I did, because one of my biggest things was I need to see, if he starts the season on the PUP list, if he's he re-aggravated, from my understanding, and he's back on that PUP list, then you got to wait and see. Now, right now we got to wait until we get to the preseason games and see, if he gets out there and, he's there by week, the first preseason game, and he, looks all right, then you know what? Everybody's going to be upset. They don't want to see him out there, this or that, but I'm waiting to see. I'm still waiting to see. They have to look into a better CB2, bring in Gilmore if McLeod is in it or Flat keeps getting cooked. But I think McLeod is good. Look, we're talking about the first week. We're talking about getting cooked off of the first week. This is the whole season off of the first week of starting training camp. Nah, not for me. Not for me. I can't make a decision like that right now. I can't. You're going to spend this money to bring these other guys in, and things can happen. And if you just let things play out, we have a new system. Don't forget, we were under Wink system. Now we're into more of a zone concept, whatever the case may be. And that's the other thing. Sometimes fans, he was supposed to be on him, but you don't know what the damn coverage call was. If they were in a zone, and just because a receiver runs past somebody, that may not be his man. There may be an open area in the zone that the receiver just read and attacked the open area. Like, really understand the concepts and what's going on out there. Don't just look, you're man for man at all times. We were man for man primarily last year. We're not man for man this year. We're not. We're going to play a lot more zone. A lot more zone than we ever did. That's a big thing. So as far as Gilmore, I'm waiting to see with McLeod and Fly. And I'm waiting to see until we go up against someone else. That's what I'm waiting for. And if I see their tendencies that they're playing the techniques, all right, I'm not killing them. I'm not, personally. Everybody else can, whatever. But I'm not. I'm definitely not. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and transition over to the Olympics. Where is it? I had it. And I didn't put it in Olympics. I thought I put one in. Okay, the Olympics. Okay, and I'm just going to make this, a little bit. All right, let me see what Tommy's saying right here. I think Neil needs to work on footwork and leverage, circle the contact with this strength and size with power, technique, precision. But it's a long season. You need depth. No, you agree. I agree with that. His footwork. I've always said, one of the things. I wish he could lose a little bit more weight. That could help with the speed. The leverage, a lot of it was, I question if that's what he was being taught last year by Bobby Johnson. So, and if Bracilio's teaching him different things to help, because remember, Jermaine Illuminor, he was bouncing around and he was almost out of the league. So, so that's another factor. So, and he got under Bracilio, and next thing you know, he's playing better. So, but hey, we'll see what's going on. So, but now I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Olympics in conjunction with the WNBA. So, for those of you who don't know, the WNBA is on a break because of the Olympics season right now. So there are quite a few players who play in the WNBA who have moved on to compete for their Olympics, whether it's for the United States or their respective countries. So, but just a little recap, at the current standings in the WNBA, you have Dallas and Washington, who are both 6-19, and they're 12-11 respectively. Los Angeles is at 6-18. Atlanta is at 7-17. Chicago is at 10-14. Indiana is at 11-15. Phoenix is at 13-12. The Las Vegas Aces are 16-8. Seattle is 17-8, along with Minnesota at 17-8. Connecticut is at 18-6, and the New York Liberty are at 21-4 overall. So those are their overall records. The different power rankings who have phases, but ultimately, you could say this is where they would be. I mean, some have Vegas, or one has Vegas at number 2, and Connecticut at number 3. So, right now the top 5 teams are pretty much, I think, going to be positioned where they, in the top 5. So maybe, what you call it, will jump in. We'll move up. We'll see what's going on. What's up, Raph?
Hello, what's up, Coach?
How are you, man? Thanks for tapping in, man. I appreciate you.
I'm very good right now. And of course, I just made something like, because right now we're in the Olympic Games. And right now, I just wanted to tell too, because right now, but when it comes to United States at the Olympics, I mean, the team of basketball, they never disappoint. I mean, they just have like an amazing participation, because never forget about for the dream team of 1992, whether it comes to Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Patrick Ewing, also there's Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. Even the team USA at the basketball never disappoint. But of course, doing for the LeBron James, Stephen Curry, along with this coaching, I mean, there's a lot of mentality, leadership, and a lot of discipline, because when it comes to like a team USA at the basketball, they never disappoint. They always talking about for like the defense and the offense, and it's really huge, because this is like one of the most important teams in the whole story of the basketball world, and they know how to go at the highest level possible in history.
No, you're right. You're right. And the way that this Olympic roster has been put together for the women, it speaks volumes, to the level of talent that's here in the United States. One of the things I was going to talk about in terms of the Olympic team, in terms of players who are playing in the Olympics. Yahoo Sports has an article that says there are 16 WNBA players who will compete against the Team USA in Paris. So, and there are several teams that also have players who played in the WNBA, but they're playing overseas. They're not playing in the WNBA like they would in the past. And I think there's another 7 players. But I mean, currently, players who like on Australia, you have players like Izzy Megbagor, Sam Whitcomb. They play for the Seattle Storm. Rebecca Allen of the Phoenix Mercury, Alana Smith from the Minnesota Lynx, and Jade Melbourne from the Washington Mystics. So I mean, these are players, and I've always said Australia might be a team that could, that will. I'm not going to say beat the United States, but they're going to be a tough team. So Canada, they have 4 players. Aaliyah Edwards, and who is it? Aaliyah Edwards, and it says Julie Van Loo. Oh yeah, Julia Van Loo. I know who that is. And Bridget Charleston. You have Kia Nurse and Leticia Amy here. Germany has 3 players in Leonia Febush and Nayara and Satu Sabali. So I mean, the point I'm making is there's a plethora of talent that is playing internationally that plays in the WNBA, and that's a good thing. So to your point in terms of the game itself, the basketball game, men or women, the point being is the sport is at a healthy point right now. And, it's good to see when, you have these players who, are able to go out there and compete for their respective country. I mean, right now I have concerns with the men. I really have concern with the men. You barely beat South Sudan in the prelims, and you barely beat Germany in the prelims. So, and, what are we doing now? Part of that is you only had 2 weeks to prepare. And a lot of these countries internationally, these players know each other. They've been playing with each other for years. So, that goes a long way. That really does. You can't just always rely on talent. And that's what we do in the United States. We constantly just rely on the talent as opposed to continuity, working together and playing together. So that is a concern, in terms of the men's game. Like I said, the women's game, no, I can't see it. I mean, to be brutally honest, I could see Brittany Griner going out there. Can you imagine a lineup of Brittany Griner, Aja Wilson, and Brianna Stewart just in your low post area? How do you defend that? Honestly, how do you do that? How can you defend that? And then you have your backcourt, with Diana Taurasi, who, shout out to her. This is going to be her last Olympics. But again, when you sit down and you think about that, and Kelsey Plum, Kelsey. I mean, when you sit down and you look at this roster for the United States, and you can make adjustments and how you can, match up, and how you could force teams to try and match up with you. The women, it's going to be tough. Now the men, we have the talent. We have the talent to dominate. Exactly. But but then again, you look at Germany. Germany is full of NBA players. Same thing with Canada. Now we did beat Canada in the first one, but I think it's going to be tougher if we face them again. South Sudan we face. Who's it? Serbia. Serbia is going to be tough.
Yes.
So yeah.
I mean, probably it's going to be everything is possible because there's no other strength in other teams. But I think the main trait is going to be France, like the home team, because both do the star quality and they have a good, decent female personal, because right now they have had to explainly choke, because what you mentioned about for Germany and Serbia, also they are with France and USA, the kinder groups. Canada probably is going to be one of the best, because once they go for everything possible, but that year possibly is going to be the weakest. I mean, imagine go to Spain, because their world teams are very similar. And the difference between when the Heat on Dylan Brooks caught fire, because with Greece, I mean, basically it's the busier, to go with the messed up. But also, we just see at a lot of things with the United States team. I mean, we have a long past of the days where USA made off of the teams with especially dominated. I mean, it should be their failure, because they know how the most talent. They have some post-mortems that they lose, but they will never focus on about anything more. But of course, for the women's, I mean, after what you saw because I know the last game before the hiatus was in the 17, but the first practice was in the 18, because they're playing the All-Star game, which it could be it all depended. But in the contrast right now, because they have practice together and then training camps throughout the year, but not only to cover the season, but it's pretty short with the last fit between for the college preseason and the pro sports files in the fall. I mean, they're figured it out for a little logical. I mean, the women's teams can really show up and then win by default. It's even within the men's basketball with the 90s with the twin team, but the war, it's not even close to catching up. Contrast it about for the men basketball, where the 4 to 5 players on the first team were formed. That has to actually trying to order them to win. I mean, if you saw what happened for the World Cup last year, I mean, they're really impacted, to be honest. I mean, they just have only 5 players who are actual team, because the other 5 were the 7 WNBA players. I mean, Aliyah Edwards just grabbed 40, 10 kill, nurse 30 points. But I think they actually only bid with a Buster, but they're slightly different roles, and we automatically qualified. Though it really happy, because right now they have a training camps as well as a mission of qualification games. Not to mention that even though they're not even got it together enough for the season, they'll be sharpening their basketball skills all for the season against more difficult competition that we'd like to see for the Olympics.
You're right. I mean, the level of competition is definitely stepped up across the spectrum for the whole world. And no one fears the United States anymore, because that 92 team, yes, teams feared them. They feared them. They revered them also. because you had some of the greatest, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. So these players were just happy to be on the court with them. So but now, first of all, they're playing in the NBA with them, so they see them on a regular basis. So they know what they have to offer, and it doesn't scare them anymore. So that's another thing. As an athlete, if you play with fear, you're already defeated. But if you play with confidence, then your game steps up. And the opposition, then their game, if they play with a lot higher level of confidence because they played on your fear, then it comes down. So and that's in terms of competition, that's what I like. I like good, clean competition. I don't like seeing domination. I do like seeing it, in one regard, that's why it's good. I mean, I know most people in the United States don't want to hear that. I expect us to win, but I don't want to see blowouts. I don't want to see a 50-point win, a 40-point win constantly. If you have a 15 to 20-point win once in a while, okay, that happens. But you know what? If you're playing and what, it's an 8-point win or loss, then to me that's a little bit better. Or what, the last second, ultimately that's the best. You win on the or lose on the last second shot. That's the beauty, and that draws you into the game, as opposed to most fans. If you see 20-point blowout wins, you don't want to watch it because you're already like, what's the sense of watching it? Because you already know who's going to win. So, but that's one thing I'm excited about with this Olympics. Sorry, men's Olympics team on the soccer. Right off the bat, you got France in the first game and you lost 3-0. So it was just like, okay, the rugby team just lost to Australia. So they're not playing for the medals. I think they just have 2 more games left to play to finish out. Which, what, that points to the United States. They don't have the dominance, like they used to many years ago. So, and that's the beauty of the Olympics. That's what I love about it. I love competition. So, I'm excited about that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's really exciting because every 4 years that we will watch it about for the Olympic Games, it's about like a lot of greatness, competition. But what you're talking about, because the talent has increased massively at the international level, not only for basketball, also for rugby, for soccer, also with wrestling, boxing, because right now the other countries had a blended of great players, which is athletes, which I really like it. And I remember because my grandfather Raphael, rest in peace, because it's been 1 year without my grandfather Raphael, and
Sorry.
because during from the 60s, I mean, there was one boxing athlete called Francisco Morochito Rodriguez, and he became like the greatness of the boxing in South America because he just won the first gold medal in Venezuela. And since then, they have a great opportunity to involve another great generation because they just had Julia Mayora, Valenilla. Also, we just got Yulimar Rojas, which is the first woman athlete to won a gold medal because she was doing athleticism. I mean, she was doing a triple jump, and she looks like a superwoman because when she runs and it jumps, she looks like very great. I mean, the strategy about for all of these countries, it's about great competition, great talent, great experience, and leave the heart and soul to prove they are the best. And I only understand about it because all of those countries in the world, they're united to compete with honor, with glory, everything.
No, exactly, and that's the beauty of the Olympics. So, like you said, to compete, with honor, with glory, to represent your country, because you're also you're representing the smallest person in your country, to the leaders of your country. So, that's the beauty of the Olympics, and I just love it. I always love it. So and that's why it's so exciting to sit back now and just really start to dive into the coverage, and I'll be doing a little bit more in reference to that. So one thing that I wanted to do before I closed out is I was reading an article on Microsoft Start, and they actually had a power rankings in terms of the Olympics games. the actual games, you'd be surprised which was number one. Most people would probably say, track and field, or even say basketball or something like that. But I was surprised when it said artistic gymnastics was number one. And that really shocked me. Now it said track, the dash portion is number two, which is usually, like the 200 and under. Swimming individual is number three. Basketball was number four. Wrestling is number five. I'm only going to do the top 10 because there's 45 of them. Beach triathlon is 7. Football or soccer, however you want to classify it, is 8. Water polo, which is one of my favorites, is 9. And the jump events in the track and field, track portion is number 10. So, again, there's more into it. Like I said, they broke it all the way down. The last one, though, which I was really intrigued, and I did not even realize that this was in the Olympics. Where is it? It is called breaking. And for those of you who don't know, that's old school. That's breakdancing. So, and I was like, okay, you put that in the Olympics? I'm like, damn, if I had known that, if my old self said it, because back in the days, yes, I wasn't a breaker. I was more of a pop locker. So, but
wow.
I was with a group. So, yeah, we were good. And like I said, if I had known that all these years later, my old ass could not do that nowadays with these young kids. But just the fact that this is now part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So and that's the beauty of the Olympics there. They continue to grow the sport, the events, hopefully, even though I hated seeing it, they'll put American football into it, because recently the United States, some team went over there and lost to Japan and Belgium, I believe, in American rules football. So Who knows? Maybe the rest of the world. I know there's a European league. I've sent plenty of guys over there to Europe to play. In terms of even in college recruiting, there's kids that play over there in Europe in high school football and come over into the United States. So hopefully the rest of the world will catch up. And then I would love to see American rules football in the Olympics. And that would be a beautiful thing, man. That would be such a beautiful thing. Number one, it's expanding. Like I said, I always say for me, it's the ultimate team sport. But now that means you're including the rest of the world into it. And just like basketball, you could get a better product. So,
yep.
What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, of talking about for the breaking, I mean, it includes for the culture of hip hop, because one of my friends, which came from Spain, he was practicing for the breaking stuff, but I really loved that. And for those guys who don't know about for the American football, I mean, for the flag football, I mean, that's really huge, because during for the next 4 years, we can saw a very important about for the football, the American football, just mix it up with NFL, college football. I mean, that's something very impressive, because I would love to see how the United States team of American football can use it to be for greatness. And I understand because we just watch it every day. We just see a different athletes, different kinds of greatness, but also we just see a great moves, great defense. I mean, I would love to see that.
Exactly. So I would too. And the one team that, to be honest with you, if you even put it with the pads on, the team that would probably give us the go would actually be Canada, because they play Canadian. It's like they play on a bigger field, a longer field, a wider field with more players, and it's 3 downs as opposed to 4 downs, so it's a little bit different. But the basic foundation is there, so I would love to see that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I had for today's show. In terms of Coach Ed's amazing Reading Attack Sports Show Live. Before we get out of here, Ralph, tell everybody where they can find you at, so they can follow you and follow your content.
All right, so my channel is Capitan Rafucho on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Also, you can follow me on Rumble. So there's thousands of videos, reactions, and of course some live streams. I do play-by-play in different sports like baseball, basketball, everything. And I just got something to surprise during for the month of August and September when it comes to football season and college football.
All right, definitely look out for that. And of course, you can follow me, Coach Ed Gladney, on Coach Ed Gladney's Amazing World of Sports. You'll always see the reading attack here. You'll see me, just like Raph, doing watch-alongs in football, basketball. I do WNBA, college football. I do X's and O's. I break down film. I'll do high school. I've done indoor football. I do it all, because the world of sports is just not just about football with me. It's about everything. So, but you'll see me getting back into a lot more now. So, but that's pretty much it for today. I want to thank everyone for being here. Brandon Mitchell, thanks for tapping in. Tommy, great conversation as always, man. I really appreciate the debate. Earl Cole, thanks for being here. Next Shift Randy, my brother, as always, man, thank you. Coach Dante from East Coast Gridiron, thanks a lot. Definitely check us out tomorrow. He's going to be on the Halftime Coaching Adjustment Show with me and Philly Halftime. I'll be also coming back next week with more Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the Reading Attack Sports Show. On Tuesdays with the with my brother NYG for Heart of the City Pick and Roll podcast. On Wednesday, Thursday, I'll also be doing the Full Court Press and among other things. So, but again, thanks to everyone who's been here. NYG, thanks for being here, brother. As always, my day one, rocking with me through thick and thin. Man Cave, you man, nothing but love and respect. Nimar, thanks for being here and tapping in. Really appreciate you. Arku, Gregor John, Daniel Berry, and of course you, Raph, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you.
Thanks.
So, before we get out of here, I'm going to play my commercial for the Silverbacks, and then we'll close it out until the next one. With that being said, peace.
Check the team, we hit hard, grind tough, Silverbacks, yeah, we playing rough. Seasons changing, we don't bluff. 24's our year, say enough's enough. New Jersey reppin', we rise above. In that huddle, fighting is our love. Get down or lay down, push comes to shove. No fakes, no counterfeits, it's strength we show. Hustle on the field, opponents moving slow. See your four, we coming up, yeah, Silverbacks in the game, we steal a show. New Jersey pride, let our colors glow. Get down or lay down, this is how we roll. From Newark to Trenton, the crowd shouts loud. Gridiron Kings standing tall and proud. Training hard, every sweat drop counts. Blood, sweat, and tears, that what we about. Defensive lines a wall, offense storms like thunder. Silverbacks, baby, watch us break asunder. Eyes on the prize, Super Bowl ambition. Coach Ox got the vision, making no omissions. Each play we run sharp, no intermission. Taking over fields, every fan's addiction. Passionate roar, stadiums our domain. Every snap, every throw, we bring the pain. From Patterson to Camden, we're chasing that fame. In 2024, you gon' remember our name. 24, we coming up, yeah, Silverbacks in the game, we steal the show.
Yo, it's Coach Ed. Got the insights, no boats. From the rookies in the youth leagues to the seasoned pros, ladies ballin', fellas fighting all around the globe. Breaking it down dynamic, tune in, listen up. Don't wanna miss the flow. It's Coach Ed Reading Attack, the sports show. From the courts to the field, he's got the stats. Dropping knowledge is where the real fans at. So stand up, get ready for the play. Wave your arms in the air, let's hear you say. Coach Ed, our mentor on the mic. Breaking down the game, every highlight. Analyzing plays, court the turfs alike. Youth leagues, college dreams, pro spotlight. Tackling the blacks, defense or attack. He's got the vision, shows you where it's at. We grab the scoop, no stone left unturned. In Coach Ed's realm, the knowledge earned.